In this video, we're going to expand our lab environment and create a few additional hosts. And I'm going to show you one of the big advantages of using VMware or VMware tools or virtualization platform in general, especially in the lab environment. And that is the fact that you can clone machines. Once we have a machine running like this client that we've created, we can clone it and create multiple copies of itself, basically saving us the time and effort it takes to create a new machine, install software, install the operating system. All of those things can be saved using virtualization platform. So how do we achieve this cloning? So first of all, cloning is an action that requires you to shut down the machine. If you'll take a look, if I'll go to the machine when it's powered on and try to clone it, it'll tell me that I cannot clone it. I need to shut it down, I need to turn it off, and then it will be able to clone. So let's start by shutting it down. So once the machine is shut down, we're able to go into the settings, right click it, and then clone it. And once we clone it, basically it's a next wizard. It says the current state of the virtual machine is the only option available. That is because when we took the previous snapshot, we took it when the machine was live. And as a best practice, you should know that taking a snapshot from a live machine will not give you a point that you can clone from. You need to make sure it's powered off. So I'm going to use the current state. So you have two options when selecting the clone. You can either go with the linked clone or a full clone. A full clone will basically enable you to take this machine, cut it to any other machine, the other host, and run it there. It's basically a full machine, same as creating a new one from scratch. A linked clone works similarly to a snapshot. It's just a snapshot that exists on top of this machine. So basically you're like branching the machine to two separate instances, but still using the same principal disk and the principal resources that was allocated in the beginning. I would recommend going with full clone when you can. It's all about saving resources if you can't, and this will be the approach we're going to take in the lab. It tells you where it's going to save it. We'll call it client 4 because I'm already finished with 1, 2, 3, and basically gonna keep it at the same location, finish, and that's pretty much it. Now it does the cloning process, and I'll continue once it's done. Okay, as you can see, the process is done and completed, and now we'll have a new virtual machine called Windows Client 4. And this Windows client, I'm gonna power it on. As you can see, once we're logged in, it gives the same look and feel as the client 3 that we've duplicated. It has the same host name that we gave the previous client, which is lab client 1. It has the same username logged in that I've logged in with, Dave. It's in the same domain. A good best practice when you're adding machines to a domain is if you want to clone them, you don't necessarily want to take a machine from a domain and clone it. You would like to clone it before. Since we didn't do it in this lab, I will show you what we're going to do with the quick and dirty approach. We're going to basically take this machine, we're going to remove it from the domain, and we're going to change our name. So I'm moving it to a work group in order for it to leave the domain. I need to specify a credential that can remove this machine, and I gave it the local administrator. And once it joined the work group, we're going to basically rename the machine as well. I'm going to rename the machine to Lab Client 2. And once it will finish this rename, I'm going to restart the machine. And this will basically be the fresh machine Lab Client 2 that we're going to add to the domain. So now that we are logged in back to the machine, let's take a look at how the change affected. So as you can see, the hostname as Lab Client 2. We're logged in currently as the Lab Client 2 admin, no longer to the domain. There is one more thing that we want to change, and that's the network syncing. And basically we just want to change the IP. We gave it a static IP last time, if you recall, 105. So we're going to give it 106 for the second client, and that's pretty much what we need to do. So let's see that we're able to reach the domain controller. And as you can see, we have the IP resolves. And now we just want to add this machine to the domain. So change settings on my computer settings, domain, lab project, .local, and pretty much the same process as joining the other machine. And once we're done with the join, you can see that it accepts. It will ask to reboot. And from the perspective of the domain controller, we're able to see under the Active Directory users and groups Under computers, we're going to see Lab Client 2, which is a new machine. And if we'll move it to the right location, we can see that we have now Lab Client 1 and Lab Client 2, and they're both under the Windows 10 Workstation OU. So that's going to wrap up this video, and we'll continue in the next one.